Welcome. In this session, we will be covering three urban mega schemes, that's the Smart City Mission, the Amrit Yojana and the PMAY. Now all these three we will be covering from the point of view of general studies as well as those appearing for geography optional. We will also cover the map work related to these topics. Now since the map work these days is asked on contemporary topics, it is important to cover the recent happenings related to current affairs. Now why there is a need for urban mega schemes to be launched? If we compare the estimates for 2011 and the future predictions for 2031, we have that the urban population might swing up to nearly double. You have million plus cities which would increase from nearly 50 to 78. There would be housing shortage for nearly 30 to 40 million units, and the slum population is ought to increase by more than a figure of double, I could say. So you have a huge substantial increase in the urban scenario that could be witnessed by 231. Now therefore there is a need to focus on urban areas. If we talk about present scenario, you have nearly 31% of the people who is generating around 63% of the economic activities for the country. Of these, 22% live in slums, which account for 65 million. Now you have a population which is using walking as a main means of transportation. This should be improved. So that's one of the major missions under Smart City project. The estimates tell that nearly 25 to 30 million people migrate every minute. Therefore, it could be predicted by 250 there could be a huge rise in urban population, which accounts for nearly 64% for the developing and 86% for the developed world. So there is a need to work around the urban scenario. Now based on this, there were various missions that were released. The first that we would be discussing today is the Smart City project. Now what do we define, or what can we explain? I could say the mission of Smart City. Now a city which is smart in terms of India could be a separate definition, but in terms of Europe could be a separate definition for smart cities. What an individual considers as smart could be based on his perspective of his surrounding. So let's say for a person who is residing in India might consider a city to be smart if there is basic facilities, the basic infrastructural facilities, the basic educational facilities and the sanitation and water facilities available. However, a person staying in Europe might say that if I am able to switch off the lights at my home from a distance of 10 kilometers at my workspace or my workplace, that could be considered as a development and a smart city. So there is no defined I could say purview under which we can categorize cities as smart. However, for us we have demarcated certain criteria based on which we will understand the smart cities. Now how is the development scenario changing for urban areas? In the past, we can say cities were based mainly along the riverways or the river basins or near close to the oceans. At present, you have most of the cities that could be seen along the major transportation lines. So in India, if we talk about major cities across Golden Quadrilateral or major cities connecting the national highways would be the major cities of development. However, the future works around information highways, that is the region where you have a good optical fiber network, or you have the next generation infrastructure would be the future cities of India. So that is what is our idea behind launching the Smart City project. Now you have two countries which have helped us work around this project, that is mainly Britain and Japan. Britain is mainly working around the Bangalore-Mumbai economic corridor. However, Japan is working around the Chennai-Bangalore industrial corridor. Now, the assistance of Japan has been laid forward to Poneri in Tamil Nadu, Krishnapatnam in Andhra Pradesh and Tumkur and Karnataka, and all these three are important from the perspective of map location. So I'll keep on highlighting the regions that you would, the places that you must be sure about for answering questions related to map location. Now Poneri, Krishnapatnam and Tumkur are important because you have the regions lying in the Chennai-Bangalore Industrial Corridor, and they have been assisted by Japan for development of a smart city project. Now if we talk about the aim of smart city, I can broadly classify this under two heads. The first is the core infrastructure and the second is the smart solutions. When I talk about core infrastructure, we could further classify into four parts. That's the physical infrastructure, the social infrastructure, the economic infrastructure and the institutional infrastructure. Now under these four heads, I can classify providence of water, electricity, sanitation, health, basic education, and all these could be covered under the core infrastructure. When we talk about smart solutions, we usually say there are 8 pillars of smart solutions that could be laid forward. So first is good governance. Now when we talk about good governance, the most important is the idea of national cloud computing under the name of Meghraj that has been released under this project. So you have the first, that is good governance, focusing on how to have effective governance. The video crime monitoring systems could be installed across the city and that could lead to healthy governance system. Then you have smart electricity. So the second would be smart electricity, providing at least 8 hours of electricity per household per day should be our aim. So I am just touching the basic ideas for each of the smart solutions that have been covered. The next is smart environment. Smart environment talks about managing the waste, recycling of waste, I could say waste management, energy management. So all the things that lead to management would be covered under smart solutions. So you have management of waste. So it's believed that India disposes nearly 1,00,000,000 tons of waste, out of which only 75% is dumped on the dump sites. So it's important to improve or raise this ratio from 75 to 100%. So that's, you have the smart environment concept. Then you have smart transportation. Under smart transportation, we will cover high speed railway corridor between proposed between Mumbai and Ahmedabad, and more to be laid on these grounds. Then you have the concept of monorail that should come up. So these are the 4 pillars. The next is smart IT and communication. Under IT and communication, we talk about development of networking system, the concept of cloud computing, the DigiLockers, and all those would come under smart solutions for IT and communication. The 6th is smart education. This would include the concept of 6 new aims, 5 new IITs, 5 new IIMs that are being established in the country, 100% FDI that has been allowed in the education sector, the online education market to boom up by 2017 to nearly double. So those are some of the initiatives proposed under smart education. The next is smart health. Smart health talks about approaching the doctors through the electronic platform. So if you are sitting in one region of the country and you want to contact a doctor or a specialist from another section of the country, you can do that through the smart health solutions. And finally you have the smart building concept. So smart building concepts include the buildings that are earthquake resistance, fire resistance, and so on. So these are some of the smart solutions we tend to work around. Now all of this smart cities mission works around a kind of centrally sponsored scheme which finances around 48,000 crores in 5 years for the development of the city. It aims to work around 100 cities. In the first round, it has shortlisted 20 cities. The second round has been shortlisted with 13 cities, and then you have more list of cities to come. Now, out of this fund, you have rupees 100 crore per city per year that would be dedicated, and this amount should be invested in the city with an equal matching with the urban local bodies. Now, urban local bodies, or we call them as ULBs, the idea is that The ULB should be capable of generating the fund to work around the development or the infrastructure of the city. Now, how does ULBs generate their fund? There are four main sources through which the local bodies generate their funds. The first is parking enforcement or parking fees. The second is advertisement fees. The third is professional tax. And then you have the entertainment tax. Now, if I talk about the parking fees, in India it is less than $1 for the parking. In Dubai it is around $4. In New York I can say it's around $41. However, in London it's around $65. That is one thing, the amount of parking fees you are enforcing. The second is how smoothly you can enforce these taxes. So it's only through these taxes that the urban local body generates most of its revenue, and if the urban local body is able to match up with the fundings that are coming in for smart cities, it could be allocated or it could be nominated for the smart city project. Now, there were two stages under which the smart city projects were launched. The first stage comprises of the existing setup. So, it includes the stage 1 selection, I could say, includes 4 parameters. So, stage 1, the first parameter is the existing amenities in the city, which accounts for 25 points. The next is the institutional system, that accounts for 15 points. The self-financing system, that accounts for 30 points. And then you have the past track record of the previous policies like the Urban Renewal Mission, the Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Renewal Mission. So that accounts for 30 points. Based on these, the cities were shortlisted. Then you had the stage 2 selection. The stage 2 selection was based on a, I could say, 70-point program, and these 70 points were classified under impact of proposal, the cost effectiveness, the innovativeness that the city is willing to work for, and the processes that the city could follow. Now, these are some of the smart city solutions or the smart solutions that have been laid forward under the smart city project. So, we have discussed most of these. Now, under water management, there were some important ones, that smart meters and leakage identifications. Now, the area-based development approach. When I talk about the area-based development approach, there are 4 basic zones or 4 basic ways in which we could develop a smart city. The first is city improvement or retrofitting. That means you have a plan for the existing area. So, I have the area or the region that has been there. What I need to do is I have a plan that could improve the existing urban setup. So, that goes under city improvement. So, whatever urban areas or the urban hubs are there, you need to improve the existing setup. The next is city renewal or redevelopment. Redevelopment focuses on replacing the existing infrastructure and creating a new infrastructure. Now, this replacement program has been working in 2 basic areas. One is the East Kidwai Nagar in New Delhi, and the another is the Bhindi Bazaar or the Burani upliftment project going on in Mumbai. The next is city extension or greenfield project. This talks about establishing a new city in the periphery of the existing city. A good example of this could be Gift City in Gujarat, around 20 kilometers from Ahmedabad. Estimated to be completed by started by 2011 and completed by 2021, fully functional. It aims to provide 5 lakh jobs in direct or indirect ways, and the main partners are State Bank of India, Bank of India, and you have the Syndicate Bank. So, these are the main partners for the Gift City project. And then finally, you have the Pan City initiatives. Pan City initiatives focuses on the improving the or providing the smart solutions. So, you have installing the traffic cameras, you have water leakage management system, the security management system, more of meters. So, those all will fall under the Pan City initiative. So, these 4 fall under the area based development approach, or I could say the strategies for the smart city project. Now this map would help you work around the first round of 20 smart cities that have been proposed. Now most of these you must be sure about, however there are 3 that you must be sure about, because these are the 3 where most of the candidates would be stuck up. You have Davangere and Belagavi in Karnataka, then you have Solapur in Maharashtra, the rest and Jabalpur might be for most of you. So these 4 are the less known ones, so you must be sure about these, and since they are less known ones, there is higher probability that questions related to these could be asked. So these are the first round of smart city with 20 cities. The second round with the 13 proposed cities are mentioned here. So you have Dharamshala in Himachal Pradesh, then you have Bhagalpur, you have Agartala, Warangal. So these are some of the less known ones, so you must be sure about these. Next, the next Yojana, that's the Amrit Yojana, the Atal Mission for renovation, the urban renewal. So you have the idea for the Amrit Yojana is to provide around 50,000 crores in 5 years for 500 cities. Now the basic idea is to provide or improve the existing infrastructure, that is provide tap water, sewer connections, solid waste management, good transportation is the basic idea for these cities. Now this project is divided into 4 parts. The first is the project fund that contributes to 80%. Then you have funds coming from Ministry of Urban Development that contributes by, that's merely 2% of the total project. Then the state fund which contributes to 8%, that's again a small ratio, and then you have incentives for reforms which can contribute to 10%. So basically it is a centrally sponsored scheme again. Now few names that you must know under the Amrit city is Jangipur, that has been in news recently. So in you have Jangipur in Murshidabad, West Bengal, and Amravati in Andhra Pradesh. So these 2 are the ones which have been in focus for the Amrit schemes. Besides this, you also have the Srinagar. You also have Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir, and then you have the complete list if you want to go around. Now this diagram focuses on that you have 12 states which have the 70% of the development or the development funds being proposed for the smart city and the Amrit city. Now we have the 2 markings for smart city and Amrit city. Amrit, so you have the number of cities. So you have for Rajasthan, for example, you have 4 smart cities and nominations for 30 Amrit cities. In Gujarat, you have 31 Amrit cities and 10 smart cities being nominated. So this is a rough picture that would give you an idea about the contribution of the work around for the smart cities and Amrit cities across India. However, these 12 states, that's Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, Telangana, Chhattisgarh. So I could say a kind of this belt would be the region where you have most of the funds going in for both the Amrit cities as well as the smart cities. Now next, the final Yojana is the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana that talks about the provision for housing for all. Now it aims to cover 2 crore houses for urban poor, which includes both the economically weaker section and the low income group, and to provide them housing facilities by 2022, started in 2015. So a kind of 7-year project with central assistance and subsidy ranging from 1 lakh to 2.3 lakhs. Now this would be covered under 3 phases. Phase 1 from 2015 to 17 would cover 100 cities. Then you have phase 2 from 17 to 19 that would cover 200 cities, and the remaining cities to be covered under phase 2019 to 222 you have the remaining cities. Now there are 4 components under which we study the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. The first is the in situ slum redevelopment with public private partnership. You have affordable housing through credit linked subsidy. Now when we talk about affordable housing through credit linked subsidy, we can divide it for the EWS, the economically weaker section, and the low income group. For economically weaker section, you have those who can avail the credit subsidy with an income of less than 3 lakhs and they could be allotted 30 square meters of housing. Low income groups, you have 3 to 6 lakh with 60 square kilometer of housing facilities being availed for them. And then you have next affordable housing in partnership with private and public sector, and finally is the beneficiary led housing constructions. Now there is again normally you have a 10.5% housing loan, however the rate has been decreased or subsidized to 6.5% for the EWS and the LIG sections under the credit linked subsidy scheme. So with this we cover the 3 schemes for urban mega development, or I could say the urban mega schemes. We'll be covering more topics related to general studies, specifically focusing on geography and map locations as well in the further sessions. You can subscribe to our class for more updates. Have a good day ahead.